Hello, and welcome back to the continuation of the tournament arc. A probably one-off segment because I had so many dongle decks to decide on. I'm like, what's the most exciting way to do that in an anime? Tournament arc. So we have, if you didn't see the first part, you might want to go check it out, or maybe not, because here are the winners from the 10 we had. Here are the winners. We had the DD Hi-Fi numbers, the Rosella also numbers, the Tangchim Luna, the Let Shore BT03, and the Artemis 39 from 7 Hertz. These are the ones that I decided. I used a certain series of headphones and IMs to determine like minimum bass quality requirements, and then you either won or lost. And I tried to match them by price. This, however, is the first bracket set, and this should complete the entire thing. We will have a final winner in this video. I picked a desk mat that reminds me of like a fighting background from like a Street Fighter game. I'd love to fight here and have it be 3D. I've also changed out the headphones. Previously, we had used the Timsock TS1024s, which were my very difficult to drive 290 ohm planars, which is asking a lot of a dongle. So those are like the hard test. I had used the Dunu Zen Pros as my noise floor test. So all the noise floor has already been assessed on all of these competitors. And I was using the KOS KPH40s as my like musicality and overall quality assessment headphone. So now that we've moved on to the next bracket, it's time to move up. I've got the HD600s here, which I don't think anyone in their right mind would say, no, Zeos, those are not a good headphone to test qualities with. They are 300 ohms, which still makes them quite difficult to drive. And I am running them off of a DD Hi-Fi cable, which is balanced and way better than the things that Sennheiser gives it to you with. And then following that up is my headphone. If you don't know, the Eris exists. I have created it. I love it. It is my reference for what I enjoy in music. It is quite easy to drive at 32 ohms. And I'm also running that off a custom, also my collab. If you don't like to see sponsors on these channels, like, hey, VPNs and hey, coffee brands I don't actually drink, consider supporting the channel by supporting the products I put out. Because even at $185 for this goddamn wire, do you think I'm getting 100? No, I get like 19% of that. 20%? I forget what I argued with. But this is a very, very, very nice cable. So you're at least getting something for your support. And if I sell enough of them, then I don't have to ever worry about sponsors. So the Eris here, in reverse mode, by the way, in staging mode, is my easy to drive headphone requirement, which I know exactly how this headphone works inside and out, as well as this one. And they're completely different flavors, and that's okay. What I'm judging with this is bass impact. Does it keep the power flow going? And how's the sound stage? And I can tell you, I've already shot out the first two. And this is a quite difference in price. We're looking at here the little DD Hi-Fi model number TC35M2. Yes, there's a fly flying around. If we kill it on camera, I get to give away all these dongles. I'm going to kill it with my fists. So this is the only one on the board that is a dedicated single-ended. Had I used the Magia cable with the hard audio adapter, I could have just put on a custom hard audio 3.5, not had to use a DD Hi-Fi adapter at all, but we didn't do that. So, sound impressions and powering. The little DD Hi-Fi is still holding up. I had to max it out on some quieter songs, but it did push HD600s to what I would consider absolutely a usable level, which is impressive for its, well, lack of size. A couple things it did sort of like fall short on anything with a lot of bass. It was just restricted a little bit. Not like didn't work. Like I could fully enjoy the HD600 on the little DD Hi-Fi. But the double the cost, because this is $36 and this is $76. Brackets, man, how do they work? And while both are basically inert boxes, this one does have an interchangeable wire, which you could put a longer one on, or you plug this directly into your computer with a little less effort. It does come with a balanced output, which has more power, and that's what makes the Rosella win, at least on the HD600s. Now, it's a little bit of a different story on the Eris, where the Eris is super duper easy to drive. I think I was running about 70% volume out of just the DD Hi-Fi and probably 50 to 60 out of the Rosella. I'm going to call it Rosella. It's actually Rose Salsa, but Rosella sounds better. I was really concerned that maybe this wouldn't have the right, like when the bass note hit, which, what was I just playing this? Skrillex Xena. Playing a Skrillex song, so I swapped back and forth between the two, and believe it or not, they both performed admirably with the bass delivery. Like, I didn't really like miss bass on this versus this. So depending on what you're going out and about with, if you're looking at something that's a little bit harder to drive, you're gonna need the Rose. If you're still doing something that's easy and you just want the smallest possible option, fucking boom, you can still get the DD Hi-Fi. That said, there was a sound stage increase with the Rose over the DD Hi-Fi. This could be due to the balanced nature of the output. That is a thing that used to happen. Everyone complains now that, you don't need balanced anymore because the amps are clean enough and really single-ended is fine. And that, for desktop use, maybe that's true. But when you're getting down into the little tiny nitty-gritty, balance still helps. You have twice as many amplifiers in here, which is why this costs twice as much. And I would pick it for sound quality over the DD Hi-Fi, if just for soundstage presentation. Everything was a little bit narrower on the DD Hi-Fi. I preferred it on the Rosella, but you're paying twice as much. So I don't think anybody on this list here already is going to be a loser. We'll see. But I'm going to have to knock out the DD Hi-Fi and give the Rose the win on this. So what color is Rose? Rose is green. Rose has moved on to the next bracket as the winner. So come over here, girl. You did great. Boom. You have moved to the end of there. So I'll take this, and I will definitely not throw this in the trash. You bet your ass, if I have a spot in my car where I know I'm not going to lose this, I'm going to drop it in a cup holder, and it's like, your phone doesn't have a headphone jack? I'm going to whip this out, hand it to them. Hopefully they don't have an Apple device or they have a newer Apple device, and this is going to be just fucking fine for $36. So, all right, let's move on to the next bracket. Gojira drum solo. Please attempt it, especially on Eris. So, it's a resounding win for the Let Shore here. The Artemis squeaked by due to technicalities because the R2R that it was against in the first, the Hartfield R1 R2R that it went against in the first bracket. I skipped to the bottom, by the way. It had too many flaws, but it sounded amazing. This one basically by default or a technicality. Now that it's up against a real opponent, I can truly just... The thing is, it doesn't sound better than the Let Shore. The Artemis 39 doesn't sound better than the Let Shore. But everything about it is so much more annoying. Like, did you notice this is not the cable it comes with? Because even though last time during the bracket, I did manage to get this cable working, and I know it will work when it's plugged in and not on Bluetooth mode, because this is a Bluetooth device, and maybe using it as a dongle is not its primary purpose. But it is so hit or miss. Like, I think I've tried every orientation of this in the source, then 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 this in the thing backward, and it just sometimes just doesn't work. No matter if this is on, if it's off, if you switch cables, it works fine. And then when you get to actual sound, you think this sounds like, oh, it's good. Completely, like, not even a question on the HD600s. There's external volumes here. So you max out the phone and then you can adjust here. But there's no high-low gain. And I think that sort of hurts a little bit because even if you're going up, like, you're not actually switching the circuitry to be a higher gain. The Let Shore has high and low gain here at a switch. And these buttons, which, by the way, are some of the best tactile buttons on a Bluetooth device. Like, if you were fighting just tactility, Let Shore would take it by a fucking Irish mile. I don't even know if that's a thing. Is that a thing? Make it a thing now. Where I have the sleeve on here so you can't see them. But these buttons, they are fast and responsive, and there's a large click. And even though they're a little bit close together, I'd prefer them a little bit further apart. You feel it. This, I can't even tell if I'm clicking it because there's such little movement in it. They may as well be touch buttons. So it loses on many categories, and then it loses also on sound. It's not as engaging. It's not as full. It's not as warm. It feels shallow comparatively to the Let Shore. And Like, it has that screen or LED on it that does almost nothing to tell me what's going on. I don't know the battery life on this, like, unless I'm Bluetooth to it and it's connected and it's hooked up there. And I would love to make it good because the red color is nice. I like things with color and vibrancy. But it loses. It just loses in every goddamn category. Plus, it's just a straight dongle. This, if I plug the amazing Magia cable, this is just so much lighter. Like, without the leather case on this almost feels cheap, but then you realize, oh, but it's all metal. So is it cheap if it's all metal and just super light? Like, no one would call tools for the space shuttle cheap because they're light. And by the way, tools for the space shuttle are super duper light because they have to go into space. So they make them extremely light and out of titanium and things. But, pick it up, it's like, this doesn't feel like quality. My dad's Craftsman drill was twice as heavy as this. You fucking duh. So I wouldn't knock it at all for the lightness of it. Some units, which are coming up, pride themselves on their weight, and that could either be for heat distribution and things like that. But I truly love this Letshore for sound, and I wonder if it's going to go all the way, is my question. We're going to find out when this comes a three-way battle in the next round. So yeah, sounded better on the Aris, sounded better on the HD600, has better controls, is more refined, doesn't fuck around, and it finds out. This finds out. That fucks around, this finds out. So yeah, we're going to take this. You are now moving up to the next bracket. You're here. Congratulations. We should move off these markers because they're in the way. So now, I will throw the competitor on the floor, which out of the Muse gives a fuck. But we're going to now fight these two. So I'll be back after I make sure that still works. And we'll go against the only dongle with a laser engraved anime waifu on it. So, it's the worst thing ever for a reviewer right now, is where this is going to come down to personal preference versus, obviously, objective fucking realism. Both of these are fucking great, and they have their positives and negatives. One of the negatives being I had to change the Aris cable to the hard audio adapted one, which, by the way, custom hard audio adapters are coming that completely match this, in case you want to know, because the fat friggin' head on the 4.4 in this will not fit past the ridges that they put here for no reason. So that could be a negative on the Muse M3 Mark II. There's also the weight, which is, here's the thing. If you're using a dongle, tend to be like you'll have this in your pocket and you'll have a thing. One of the reasons this really nice, expensive DD Hi-Fi cable is on here is because the weight on this is so grand that it is fucking annoying. And this, Luna, is very light. Like, it could just stand up and it's just, it's so light. There is a sound profile difference in these two. And neither one of them is wrong. There's just my preference for slightly more width and warmth. And that is going to be the Muse. The Muse, in my opinion, I'd take over the Luna. However, and this is specifically on the HD600, it was probably a 50-50 split of I'm listening to a song and man, that vocal clarity is perfect, Luna. And then I put it on the Muse and it's like, man, that sound just bumps out a little bit and there's a little bit more to the low end mid-range. And that's a preference thing. People will like this more than this. And listening on this, I'm like, do I like it more focused? Because, the fucking Aris ain't exactly like a neutral standard headphone. So having a little more clarity and focus is probably beneficial. But I'm a psychopath. So I'm like, well, anything that makes them bigger, wider, warmer, bigger, wider, warmer, bigger, wider, warmer is my preference. And I was just jiving with music more on the Muse on this. And if it's a 50-50 split between this on the 600s, as far as powering goes, they're both of them have volume sliders on them. They both control, actually this does not control the volume on the phone. This does control the volume on the phone. This also has, and it doesn't activate, by the way, if you unplug something. So as soon as you unplug something, it's essentially off, which can be a benefit in case you forget to unplug your dongle. It won't drain your battery. So you plug that in, it comes up with, mine comes up with a warning saying, hey, you want to use the Hibby app? Every goddamn time. And then it turns on, and it actually does get a little bit warm. This, however, does have a high gain mode, which is, it has two things. One that is not necessary, because I've already complained about it in the previous section, where you hold down the volume up and it mutes. So like, man, I love this song. Click, click, click. You know, I want to play this song loud. You hold the volume up. All of a sudden, your music seemingly stops. It hasn't. The music is still playing. You've just muted the device, missing your favorite part of the song. Then you have to hold it again to unmute it, having missed the song, and your volume hasn't changed. So that sucks. If you hold the volume down, you then activate high gain mode, which turns the LED on the side from white, wait for it, to, well, that looks like pink. Maybe because nothing's playing, does it not turn red? Hold on. There you go. Now it's red. So it turns it from that to, so you hit down and you can accidentally make it high gain, and you hit up and you can accidentally mute. I feel like those are reversed, and I feel like mute doesn't need to be a thing. But there's no way to change tracks. At least this has an LED indicator. This has no indicator at all, so you're not even sure if it's getting power, so you had better know what, from your phone's things that it's doing it. There's also a slight price difference. This is $135? Hold on. Checking. $139.99 for the Luna. Unless you get it without the waifu, which makes you a bad person, then it's $129. So it's $129 or $139. And the Muse Hi-Fi M3 Mark II, dual blah, 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 and Torex Power Management System DAC is $169. And you'll notice it has like mixed reviews on Amazon, and that's simply because people are dumb. One boy, I'm calling boys, said got an open box with a missing cable and therefore gave it 1 star, whatever happened. And this guy accidentally put it in high gain mode, and it's like, maybe destroyed my hearing, which the high gain is pretty high, but I think you should probably lower your phone down before fucking around. He didn't do that. He lost his shit. So now your choices are, you either go with the light. This thing is so fucking. This weighs as much as like 4 of these. So either you go with the lightweight one that is a little more focused in its presentation of sound, or the heavyweight one that is just big and warm and hot and has all these weird quirks and doesn't fit the thing. So that's your choice. These are your choices. These are your choices. This is the more sane choice, despite having a waifu on the back of it. And this is the more insane choice, so that's why it's the winner. That's why it also came out to fight in this first tournament arc. Tournament arc! I can't scream. I'm very loud in general, but if I actually try to yell, I get like super hoarse in like 5 minutes. I am no good at concerts. Another thing I did notice, and this is not really a way that, well, actually, bullshit. This is exactly how reviewers should review things. I found myself singing along more with the Muse. I'm supposed to be like over here, like critically listening, and it's just like, I lost myself in the music more with the Muse, just because whatever that soundstage is doing, that's my trigger. My trigger mechanism is soundstage. My trigger mechanism is warmth. All right? Some people's trigger mechanisms that make them sing along to things is not that, which is why we're all different. We're all snowflakes. Some people don't even have waifus in their house. What the fuck's wrong with them? So yeah, we're moving on. Not really a loser, just a personal preference thing. Yeah. By the way, it still looks like it says sandwich back here, but it actually says Asano something. I don't know. Sorry, Luna. You did your best. So now, the final 3 showdown. 3 different price categories. 3 different units. 1 from the past, 2 from the present. I feel bad for this Rose, but let's just get it over with. Okay, welcome to the final round of the tournament arc! Starring the Rosella, the Let's Shore DTO3, and the reigning champion, as far as I'm concerned, the Muse M3 Mark II. I forgot to do something, because yesterday, when we were playing around, or I should say the first video, if you missed the top 10, one of the criteria was to have a decent noise floor. So I had pulled out the Dunu Zen Pros, and I hadn't given that test to the Muse, and it is about what I expected. High gain, high noise, low gain, noise in the top 30% or so of the volume range, which on a super sensitive IM, you're never going to be near that. You'll die. That said, changed out again for this particular final round of testing. I needed to make goddamn sure. Hold on, let me get this up. Get back to my music chat. Boom. Wanted to make sure that you understood this was serious business now. Serious business. Move the mouse. Serious business. So, pulled out another set of IMs. And it's a set of IMs I only pull out for special occasions because it will fucking ruin me. Soft Ears Twilights. Currently hanging off the Purple Asylum cable here. 10mm single dynamic, run about $900. And I usually bring these out to audio shows to assess amplifiers, so it makes perfect sense to pull them out here. Brought out the Kings, the centerpiece of the wall. These are the Meze Empyrean Elites. These are like $4,000. And by the way, did you know that the sponsor of today's channel or video is the Magia cable? And look, with Reen connectors, they will work. And this particular one is also the Heart Audio style. So I am able to put a normal plug in it and use it. On the Muse. This is a headphone I brought it actually specifically because when I reviewed it, and still to this moment, a lot of the older Meze stuff didn't give a rat's ass what your amplification was. It just sounded amazing on everything. And that kind of still carries over. But these are a giant planar and a $75 dongle. Well, I'll tell you in a second. So, and the last pair of headphones is one that arrived yesterday, and I was so fucking happy that I opened a bottle of Prosecco and got half sloppy because of it. These are the Fostex TH1100s. They're new flagship planars. And the reason I opened the Prosecco is because I said, if I open this box and there's a 4.4 by default in this fucking box, I'm just going to bop a bottle of champagne. So the only bottle I could actually pop the top was some lovely Prosecco. So look at these and weep. Now, I'll obviously have a review coming up on those. And I picked them because A, I'm one of the first people to have a set, and B, because holy shit, treble. Yeah, that's all you got to know about those. Is, oh my God, not bad treble, just like you had better have fucking sorted amplification, motherfucker, or you're going to hell. So this one, super easy going. This one kind of cares, and this is the most all-rounder IM that has ever existed. So sitting here with the three, I can wholeheartedly say the Rosella is just outclassed. It's half the price of the other two. Actually, wait, what's the Let's Sure again? Hold on. I keep the prices. So we are, oof, you know what? Stop. Cancel everything I just said. The Rosella is outclassed, but the Rosella is still $75. The Artemis is gone. That's coming up. $82. This is $82 and it's competing. Oh shit, I thought you were like 110, 100. You're out. You're out. Rose is back here. Rose didn't make it. It really came down to between these two. And now that I'm 100% reminded of what the hell the fucking cost is, because it's best to ignore the cost, by the way. When you're looking at something, don't be like, ooh, this is a $4,000 headphone. Let me. No. It's just a headphone. It's just a fucking headphone. I don't care how it's made. Put it on your head, close your eyes. You can't see it anyway. You can feel it, but you can't see it. Just listen. I don't care who makes it. I don't care how much it costs. Just listen. That's how you assess things. With no external fucking, just nothing. You want the you pick your amp, and then you forget what you picked. You pick it, and you forget what you picked, and you just listen. That's the best way to do it. Otherwise, your brain is filled with little, like, I love, these, but at some point, I'm going to have to just forget about it and just listen. So, oof. So now here's the thing. Even if I pick the Muse for all three of these items, which I'm going to, the Muse just ekes it out a little bit more soundstage. There was a track of Alone in Kyoto by Air. Go listen to Alone in Kyoto by Air. Because it starts out with like the most compressed sounding noise. It's like a bubbling that it sounds like someone compressed it down to like 56 kilobytes and then put it in a professionally mastered thing. And it's just horribly crunchy and terrible. But then like the good parts of the song come in and you're sort of like taken out. And I listened on all three, and this had the best this felt like it was explaining it to me better. This fucking $80 dongle was probably, I would call this one the most referenced. This is not referenced. This is my preference of sound. It adds sound to it. This felt like it was a reference thing. Did I have as much fun? No. That's why I'm picking this one as the winner for all three. But this one was never that far behind. The Rose could never compete. It tried. It powered everything fine. It just always felt like it was like one full step behind. It was like Herbie. Remember Herbie the race car with the Beetle car, and how Herbie's always losing? Only in the end, Herbie fucking loses instead of winning by some magical shit. It was always Herbie the fucking love bug, but the loser version. The Let's Shore kept its fucking own on everything. Like I was sitting here in I had to go back and forth more between these two devices than on anything else in this desk, on anything here for certain, because it was so close. Like, if I shut this off, which I didn't shoot this off against the Luna, no? This didn't go against the Luna. No, this one off to go. Of course, this is going to beat it. But this versus the Luna, I think it would be close as well. It would probably be fucking almost dead on, because this still added a little bit more fun than the Luna did, and it almost matched this. You know what it takes to, like, it's like fucking Thor when the Hulk is the goddamn champion. That's the Hulk. This is my emotional Hulk. This has the sounds that I love and look for, and despite the weight being a fucking annoyance, it just brings weight to the music. Whereas this is a little bit more clean and light, and that could be all mental because, you know, that's how we work. So I'm going to highly recommend the Let's Shore DT03. Like, highly recommend it. For some reason in my brain, I thought this was a plus $100 range, but it's $80. So I think it's emotionally a winner here. But for pure audio bliss, for what I'm looking for in a portable, if I'm going to listen to a very rare IM that I only take out a handful of times a year because it'll ruin me, I'm going to take it on the Muse. I wouldn't be upset if I went on a trip with this. Like this thing with the high-low gain, and also high-low gain on a switch form versus holding the button, which, by the way, every time you unplug something from this and it turns off and you plug something back in, that high-low gain isn't remembered, so it's back to low gain again. So if you want high gain in, you got a whole button. So it has its annoyances, but for what I'm looking for in sound, this is the fucking winner. Let's plug in that. See, then it'll turn on, and then we got to hold down the negative button, and then let go, and then it goes pink, and then we hit cancel, and then we hit Behemoth from something from Army of Darkness. Oh no, it's definitely from the Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2. So now it is controlling this volume, which, I don't know, do you consider that a good or bad thing? Would you rather have volume here and then volume separate on this? Because the benefit of having volume be the volume on the phone is that when I press that, I know where my volume is. But if this is in your pocket and you're just dicking around on the side, it doesn't really matter. The other benefit to having the volume be separate, which both of these control the volume of the phone, would be that you can max this out, just control here, or if you're using super sensitive IMs, you could lower the phone's output and then control up and down and not worry about blowing anything up. That's another benefit. So I think these are the two that people are going to buy from this review. These two. Maybe people will actually reach back all the way to the Hartfield and get the R1, R2R, because I think that is the only unit on that board that could compete with this in sound. But it was so fucking broken and cheap in other directions and cost more than everything else that I couldn't let it pass the fucking gate. I think this is the safe bet. It's lighter, it's flat face, you don't have to worry about things not fitting. It comes with actually I think the little case might be a little bit more, like $10. I don't even know. This is annoying, by the way, which is why I took it off, because every time I was unplugging, because it slides right on, but then every time I went to pull out the headphone, this would slide out. Unless you squeezed it really hard or put your thumb here to yank it out, it would do that. But it also comes with this kind of giant. It's no bigger than the DD Hi-Fi, so this is still, it's fine and it worked. I didn't have any problems with it. I think the Let's Shore is probably the closest runner-up we're ever going to have in dongles. And it's probably, you're probably, from this video, if I do affiliate links for both of these on Amazon, which I'm going to, this will probably sell more because it's $50 less than this. And it made it all the way here, and I was fucking racking my brain. Different tracks, all three things, different tracks. And at some point, I just gave up on the rows and went to different tracks just on the two of them. And then I would restart the track and listen to the first 2 minutes of a song over and over and over again. And so it actually took, like, time. Like, this channel, obviously, I do a fuckload of reviews. Thank you all for supporting me by buying my Magia Baser inspired cables. And I get to do all this cool shit. But sometimes I actually had a invested interest in this because I've been talking about this forever. And I'm like, no one remembers me talking about this a year ago. Like, I'll bring it to shows. I was like, what that? I'm like, what do you mean? It's my favorite dongle deck. And no one remembers my favorite dongle deck. So putting it through the fucking gamut here and having it win the tournament arc, which this is the, by the way, winner of the, wait, let me play one more. I don't want to stop the music from playing. So I'm just going to go and bring the whole, please don't fall over. What color is that? It doesn't have a color. We're going to, okay. The Muse M3 2. But the holy fuck close runner-up is the Let's Shore. I'm not even going to put it, like, all the way back here. It's going to stay, like, right next to it. Don't knock off the pens, you... Like, even on this, which I said doesn't have a lot of change, I'm going to get a copyright strike for fucking music from the Evil Dead playing out of a headphone on my table. Even though these don't, like, there is enough visceral impact in the bass, just a little bit that squeaked it out. The power delivery, whatever the EQ is, and certainly for, like, the soft ears, certainly for the IEMs that are as revealing as these are, I want that. It actually has a flavor. The Let's Shore is a little bit more neutral. Now, if I pulled out some of the other stuff on my table, like the Quest Styles or the Aun Yukis, those all have very specific tastes and flavors, but they're also last time winners. Like, I could have pulled out any one of those to fight in this final fight, and it would have been possibly a different outcome. So, yeah, I think we're done here. You could expect quite a number of things in this month's yard sale, and I might include the cheaper ones with IEMs combined with the In-Ear Fetish channel. If you're not watching me on In-Ear Fetish, that is where I do all the IEM reviews, because I have so many to do, and it would just crowd this channel. So if you haven't seen any IEM reviews in a while, because you're not subscribed to the In-Ear Fetish channel. In-Ear Fetish channel. All of the reviews, by the way, on In-Ear Fetish are available early for free on my Patreon and Subscribestar. There are free open posts. Just go to my support sites. You could either search the tag IEM or scroll down until you just see the links to them. You'll get a link to the video, which is usually unlisted, and a link to the product, and you can watch it and get ahead of the curve from anyone who's just waiting for releases on YouTube. Patreon and Subscribestar that do support this channel, however, which help me work with projects like these. Oh, it's so nice. This is brass, by the way. Support this channel for $5 a month. You get to see reviews early. Things like this. People, I'm sure the comments are riddled with people who got to see this review early. So main channel videos, you are behind the paywall. IM videos, free. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales, which I'm going to finally get to clear up a ton of that table now. Losses sound demos, which I have to update because I'm so far behind on those. But I should have most of them ready to go. And then the monthly Q&A, which I will post at the beginning of the month. And then I put out a video response, which everyone can see at the end of the month. So if you want to see me respond to questions that you didn't ask, that's free. If you want to ask me questions, that costs $5. And for $10 a month, the extreme price of $10 a month, basically what it costs to put fucking guac on a stupid goddamn Chipotle thing, so stupid expensive. I found a picture. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit seething inside. I found a picture on my phone from 2017 of the prices of fucking Chipotle, and a steak thing was like $7, and I'm just like, what happened? What happened since 2017 to now? Did all cows go extinct? What the fuck? So yeah, guacamole. Where was I? $10 a month. The price of guacamole. You get into the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat where you could ask me questions directly and all the time with a bunch of other people who enjoy this channel. You get to ask them questions, and if you're in that chat, which gets recycled every 3 months, so make sure you're a constant patron, you can also get into the Lifetime Swap Meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear. So if you want to just sell your headphones with their Magia cable, even though I don't know why you do that, just keep the cable. It's such a beautiful cable. Also comes in 3-meter lengths, but that's expensive. But I mean, I have a 3-meter upstairs. It's crazy. Then you can join that everyone who's in a $10 check gets into that for a life to buy, sell, and trade gear. And if you haven't checked out the Hi-Fi Guides forums, I'm going to start posting random forum posts in the description of these videos. Zeos, do that. Whether it's the anime talking one, or what are you listening to now, or hey, what did you buy lately? Ton of interesting posts and topics you can go and respond to there. Expect me to spend more time on Hi-Fi Guides now that I'm working my schedule out. All the desk mats are on Reddit. If you go to RZeos, you'll see a big post. And if these are still available, you can buy them. If they're not available, you think this is AI? I can't tell. I bought a lot of these before the AI revolution. So a lot of them are probably real artists. Although, you know what? The way the wire... No, this has got to be AI. It's got to be. Look how shitty the fucking things are. God damn it. Beaten again. Although I will say... Would you rather have AI draw the desk mat instead of them stealing physically an artist's like that is an artist drew that. If they put that on a desk mat, that is directly stealing from that one guy versus AI, which is kind of rendered from stealing everybody's things, but it's not really because it is. And I don't know. Take your pick. Either way, kind of cool AI desk mat that might be available. If it's not, it's one of the only ways that will not get removed from Amazon. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you for sticking through this entire series. Did you like the tournament arc? Do you like to see me shoot things off? Because tier lists I find are lame. Because then no one cares about, although this is basically the longest way to get to a tier list. We've got things that lost, those are C tier. Things that won the first round, those are B tier. Things that got into the top 3, which is A tier. And then obviously S tier would only be the winner. This is just a more interesting fighty arc to get there. So if you like that, maybe I'll do more of them. Although I tend to need to have a shit ton of things to have that happen. Although I kind of have a supply of shit tons of things. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the support of your channel. Thank you for supporting my collabs. And I will see you all in the next Tournament Arc!